Hi everyone, just going to give you a brief introduction to the book of Joshua, which we started yesterday in our Bible through the year reading. The book of Joshua takes a bit of a shift from what we've seen in the past few books that we've looked at, which has been about the rules and the regulations and various different things that the people of Israel needed in order to live amongst a holy God. And I know that some of you have had questions that have come up as a result of that, and some of you have struggled with some of the rules and the regulations and the laws that have been there. And we can touch on that at some point in the future if you wanted to. But just by way of an introduction to the book of Joshua, now we've seen that shift. So Moses has died, and Moses didn't get to enter the promised land because of what happened in the desert. The last really of that generation who weren't allowed to enter the promised land to die. And now Joshua, Moses' successor, is going to lead God's people into the land that he had promised for them. Joshua, one of two of the 12 spies that were sent out into Canaan to see whether it was worth conquering. All those years before, only two of them came back, Joshua and Caleb, who said that with God with them, yes, it would be difficult, but they could conquer the land. But the people chose to listen to the other spies, and so because of that lack of faith, were wandering in the desert for 40 years and so on. So that's the background. What we're going to see, broadly speaking, in the book of Joshua is not, in lots of ways, easier than the reading that we've had before. It's just a different form of difficult. So particularly, I think, in light of what's happening in the Middle East at the moment and the situation with Israel and the Palestinians in Gaza and so on. The book of Joshua is difficult reading. So it's difficult reading because, broadly speaking, the book is split into two halves. The first half is kind of a series of the tribes that were conquered. So when they enter into the land, these are the tribes that we conquered, these are the people we fought against, these are the people that we defeated, and so on. You've got big ones like the story of Jericho and how God led his people to an amazing victory against the odds at Jericho, and some less familiar ones as well that you'll pick up along the way. The second half is what happens with that land. So God, or rather God's people, saying, well, this land that we conquer from this tribe, we're now going to give that to these people, this tribe from the people of God. And really how the book unfolds is it's how the land was conquered and then who took possession of the land and how that land was divided up. So certainly not easy at the best of times, and we've got big stories like Jericho and you know, how do we hold what seems on the face of the reading to be God's command that his people should wipe out an entire city, men, women, children, livestock, and so on. How do we hold that is really difficult. And it's really difficult in light particularly of what's going on in the world today. We've said before, it's a different time, different values, different ways of being, different ways that people related to God and understood what God was calling them to do. There are lots of different interpretations from that. I don't want to give you any kind of easy answers. There aren't easy answers, but I think part of this is to wrestle with what we see. And if you want to come and talk about that, or if we want to explore that together in a different way, then do let me know, and we can certainly do that. I don't think this is the best forum to go into that. But part of the name that's given to Jacob, we looked at this at Bible study last week. Jacob is given the name Israel or Yisrael, which means the one who wrestles with God. And now Jacob literally wrestled with God and broke his hip in the process. But also, I think we wrestle with God, don't we, in things like what do we do with the story of Jericho? We wrestle with that in the face of the New Testament, in the face of what we see in Christ, and certainly I think that contrast between the values and the culture of the New Testament and the values and the culture of the Old Testament. There is no book in the Bible, I believe, that lays that contrast so starkly out as the book of Joshua. And so, it might not be an easy read, but I think it is an important read to wrestle with, because it's how we see God's people settling into the land that had been promised all the way back in Genesis to Abraham. So I pray that it is a read that you find hidden gems and encouragement amongst all of that difficulty as well. And as I say, any questions, please do come and have a chat with me. God bless you.